We have finally gotten some more juicy trailers for Kingdom Hearts 3, and yes, that is the plural form of trailer. I feel like everybody's reaction to the second trailer was which is understandable, since we weren't sure that we would even get one. If you haven't seen the trailers, I can say that they are absolutely fantastic. The first one shows off new gameplay mechanics and a new world, and the second contains Utada Hikaru's new song, as well as some clips to show how far the visual parts of the game have come. We'll be going through the trailers and analyze them. The video is going to be quite long, so kick back, relax and bust out the popcorn. The first trailer is wilder than we've ever seen before, so let's get started. The very first thing we see is the text that has been in the last couple of trailers. Don't assume your dreams are just fantasy. If you can imagine a world, believe in it and dive in. The trailer cuts to a place that looks like it's from Kingdom of Corona because of the green foresty environment. A corridor of darkness appears and out steps none other than the pink-haired Marluxia. After being the final boss of what many considers to be one of the worst games in the series, he apparently decided he wanted more. And Meme Goofy is back, ready to mess up your shit if you cross him and his friends. While the shot is still frozen, take a second to admire the beautiful grass. In this shot we can see that Sora's eyes have become more green compared to all the other games where they are bright blue. Given that eye color in this series has some symbolism attached to it, it could mean that Sora has changed in some way and the eyes reflect that. His hair also seems to have become a bit smoother in texture compared to the orchestra trailer. I don't know about you guys, but this whole conversation between Marluxia and Sora doesn't strike me as hostile, so it makes me wonder if Marluxia is actually going to support Xehanort. He did betray Xemnas in Recom, so maybe, just maybe, he's on our side. Evidence to further back this up is that Sora starts in an aggressive stance, but quickly moves to a more neutral one as he sees Marluxia. This might be just because he doesn't remember him, but later in the conversation both Donald and Goofy also change to a neutral stance. Marluxia also doesn't have yellow eyes as the rest of the Nords. As much as I'd love to see Marluxia help Sora, I feel that it's very unlikely that he isn't a Seeker of Darkness. I guess he has been brought back through time travel as well, because he introduces himself by the name Marluxia instead of Lauriam. After the conversation, we then cut to the Toy Story world where holy crap the models look great. Not that all the other models didn't, but they just look so much like their movie counterparts. It looks like the Toy Story gang is either trying to capture some Heartless to find their friends, or is just going to defeat some Heartless. Either way, it doesn't go too well as Sora and the gang crashes their plan. The next scene is of Sora right outside of the Monsters Inc. building. Finally this world is confirmed. Most of us believe this leak to be true because of the sheer quality and size of it, but it's fantastic to finally have it confirmed. The camera pans away and rotates, so we get a good view of the building. The next clip gives us a great view of Sora, Donald and Goofy in their monster form. I really dig Donald and Goofy's monster form, but Sora looks odd to me. Kind of emo, a little bit derpy. If we compare this shot with the leak, we can definitely see some changes, most notably on Sora. In the leak Sora was orange with purple stripes, and now he's grey with darker grey stripes. His hair, or whatever the hell that is, has also undergone a color change. It used to be purple, but it's now red. Generally, the colors have changed quite a bit. Here are some of the other changes. Sora's jacket, Goofy and Donald's skin color, and the reflection on reflective materials have been added, like Donald's bracelet and Goofy's buttons. In the leak, Donald had a weird deformation around his head, like somebody had mistaken him for a snack and took a bite. This has also been fixed. The gang continues into the building to fight Mike and Sully with Boo. I kinda hope that Square Enix was pushed to show an unfinished Monsters Inc. world due to the leaks, because I really don't think Sully's fur looked great at all. I'm crossing my fingers that it's still being worked on. Other than that, I think the models and environment looks great. Maybe it isn't important, but in this shot Sora's eyes are blue as usual, so maybe this is a clue as to which order the worlds are played in. We have some fun little dialogue between the two groups before we cut directly into gameplay. And holy shit guys, themed command menus are back and looking gorgeous. The HUD has also undergone some changes from the leak, and it now uses the world specific models. While we are freaking out over the command menu and the HUD, take a second to notice how beautiful everything is in general. The ground with the metal that reflects light, the fence, the wires, the lights, the fog, everything. Right here we get the first look of what I assume is the Keyblade of this world. It looks like it has some elements from a factory machine, and on the top we have a red emergency light, as well as a security helmet from the factory in Monsters Inc. Sora runs forward and then jumps down and gets into dive mode. From the other trailers, especially the American D23, we know that Sora goes into dive mode after a while, and this footage we have right here confirms that. Look around as he's falling. The world is so beautiful. When he dives, notice how he is affected by the lights in the scene. When he's hit by the light from a helicopter, we get a better look at the Keyblade. The guardrail looks like a piston or maybe a scream canister. At the end of the Keyblade there is a kind of claw, like the one used to transport the doors. The keychain is Boo in her monster costume. In the factory, Sora glides around and uses thunder a couple of times on some unversed. One of the enemies hit by the thunder gets larger until it looks like the enemy we saw from the leak. When Sora uses thunder the first time, he gets 2 arrows above the command menu, and a darkened Thundasa command appears, showing the player what they will get access to if they continue. Sora uses another thunder and gets 3 arrows required to unlock Thundasa. I'm a bit worried about how easy it is to get the extra commands to use. From this footage, it seems like we can use 2 Thundakas and then get a free Thundasa. If Cage 3 works like 0.2, Thundasa might not even cost MP to cast, and that worries me a bit. I really hope that the developers take their time to balance out the combat, so we are not just inclined to spam a certain spell or attack because it gives us free commands. Anyway, moving on. Now Sora is about to use a Keyblade transformation, but if we stop the trailer right here, we can get a really clear view of the top of the Keyblade, and it's looking great. After Sora has fully transformed, he has changed the colors of his fur to those from the leak, and he is now equipped with 2 claws. The Keyblade transformation is called Quick Claws, and it does look like it's focused on speed and agility. In this transformation, the player is able to quickly switch and move between enemies. In the next shot, we see Sora utilize the new platforming mechanics. He starts off by hanging from a door and then jumps up to the rail and glides. This seemingly simple action is so cool and tells us a lot about how the platforming of Cage 3 is going to be. It appears that platforming is pretty free, and I'm excited to see how they're going to use the platforming mechanics in the different worlds. On the rail, Sora shoots some targets, just as we've seen in the previous trailers, but this time there is a situation command that says, take cover. The trailer changes back to the Tangled world and we can see how Flynn and Rapunzel are party members. Furthermore, the command menu's theme has changed to one that suits the Kingdom of Corona. Flynn uses the frying pan from the movie as a weapon, as well as a barrel he can roll on. Rapunzel uses her hair and the environment, which looks absolutely crazy. Sora also has a new Keyblade, one that looks like a tower with the sun at the end. In the fighting scenes, they give me a reason to worry again. Sora hits a couple of enemies and builds up the arrows, granting him a new Keyblade transformation called Mirage Staff. He does some more attacks and casts lightning, and then he can use Thundasa too. While that is cool and probably looks great, it's pretty OP in my opinion that he doesn't even have to pull off a full combo before getting access to this new Keyblade transformation. And then soon after that, he can use a tier 4 magic spell. Hopefully the arrow meter builds up faster, just to show off in the trailer. A little later in the trailer we can see Sora zooming around in the new Keyblade transformation. His clothes are now blue, and the way he moves give me Wisdom Form vibes. Here we can see that Sora is able to swim, something I don't think he has been able to do since Cage 1. This makes me really happy, as it's a sign that they probably have spent a lot more time to flesh out the worlds, like in Cage 1, so they aren't as hollow as we've gotten used to in all the other games. And look at the water, just delicious! Talking about water, check out this next scene where Ariel is summoned. Nomura didn't lie when he said that summons are a treat for the eye. Just look at it. The drops, the reflection, the depth of field. Seeing that Ariel is a summon, I think a lot of people are going to be happy, because having Ariel as a summon could imply that there's no Atlantica world. In the next scene here, Sora has locked onto 16 enemies and is now using his shotlock, as indicated by the command menu. The shotlock is different from what we've seen before, and Sora is holding his Mirage Staff, so maybe that means shotlock changes with the former Keyblades. On the command menu we can see that the top command says Spectral Rays, and the bottom says Flow Chain. The bottom one appears to be the same all the time and is used to get around, while the top one changes based on forms or keyblades. In the footage, Sora clearly uses spectral rays, as we've seen Flowchain before, and this is not it. After the shotlock has been used, the trailer cuts to a big open area where Sora uses the finisher to Mirage Staff. During the finisher, we have an opportunity to look at Sora's fresh new color scheme and the beautiful plants that surround him. The finisher summons a huge tower where Sora creates light versions of himself so he can create a giant ball that shoots out beams of light. This one looks like it's going to hurt. We return to what I assume is the Toy Story world, given how small we are, and that we are using the Hyper Hammer form. Sora uses a combo that we have already seen from the American D23, and the plastic balls he hits actually interacts with him and the enemies, which is making me really excited for the level of detail in the worlds. Sora then goes on to use the teacups, and again there's interaction between him and the plastic balls. The radius of effect of the teacup spin is pretty big, as you can see all the enemies getting affected by it. The scene changes again, this time to a boss battle, with what looks like to be a spaceship. The boss is flying around causing chaos, and the object he hits seems to be using some kind of physics engines. It doesn't look like it's scripted. This could make for some very interesting battles. Sora, Buzz and Woody all jump on a rocket flying around the map until they crash the rocket into the boss. From the command menu, this looks like it could be part of a summon or a Disney ride, or it might just be a situation like command for that specific boss battle. While Sora and company is up in the air, try to look around. I can't figure out where the hell we are. We appear to be up in the sky, and we have huge floating toys around us. After Sora jumps off the rocket, he doesn't go into dive mode as we've seen before, which leads me to believe that dive mode is only activated if you're looking down. Oh, and by the way, notice the themed command menu for the Toy Story world. Now it's nighttime, so maybe it's another stage of the battle, but it would be weird if that's the case, seeing as the health hasn't been depleted at all. In this nighttime version of the battle, Sora uses good old platforming to get near the boss. When he mid-air approaches platform, a white spot appears to mark where he can land. I assume that is going to be like he's snapping in place to minimize the frustration of platforming. We wouldn't want a deep jungler or Oogie Mana boss fight again, would we? When Sora gets pretty high up, we can see a yellow square on a platform. From the previous trailers, we know that this means Sora can use Flowchain to get to it. It's nice to see this incorporated into a boss fight, and I do believe it could work extremely well if implemented correctly. The trailer cuts again and we see Sora use athletic flow to spin around a pole, just like what was possible in Dream Drop Distance. This time though, the enemies around him get sucked closer to him as he spins. The enemies are heartless, so we know that they appear in this world as well. When they get sucked in, they appear to take damage as Sora gains arrows just spinning around the pole. The spinning seems okay powerful, considering you don't have to use any resources. What the hell are you doing, Sora? Get back on the other side of that fence. We now get to see the next stage of the Quick Claw Keyblade transformation, as Sora gains 3 arrows and activates twin yo-yos. Just as with the activation of all the other Keyblade transformations, activating twin yo-yos gives you a small scene and damages the enemies around him. During the activation, you can see that in the top left corner we have a bar named Laugh Power. I don't think this is part of a summon or a link, as Sora uses normal attacks. I think it's kind of a mission, like in KH2 where we had to protect the Emperor. During this mission we have a command called Scream Strike, which probably utilizes Sully's Roar. Sora does a couple of attacks in the twin yo-yo form and then unleashes the finisher that turns a large body into a sandwich, a very nasty sandwich, not the one you typically enjoy. This part where Mike is used as a bowling ball reminds me of Goofy Throw from the Orchestra trailer, so maybe it's a kind of situation command that pops up if you do certain actions, maybe hitting the same enemy as Mike or Sully. I don't know what the link in the command menu is, but it could also be that, I guess. And we also have Dream Eaters. God damn. I just wanted to forget these guys ever existed, but Nomura just won't let us. If I were to guess, I think this is more likely to be a summon, as we can see a scour right under the Laugh Power bar. It doesn't seem like Sora uses any resources to call upon the Dream Eaters, so they might also be a situation command. Another possibility is of course also that it doesn't use a research because of trailer purposes. The final scene in the first trailer is of Vanitas approaching Sora, saying he wants Ventus's sleeping heart. Ventus then reacts through Sora, just like Roxas have done a couple of times. The fact that we have Vanitas in Monsters Inc. and Marluxia entangled heavily implies that each member of the new organization is going to be tied to the plot of a world. Look at Sora's eyes and compare them to the eyes from the rest of the trailer. His eyes have definitely gotten greener from the beginning of the Monsters Inc. world to now. If that actually means anything, or it's just the lighting playing with us, we'll have to wait and see. If I were to guess on the meaning of the change of eye color, I would say that it's Ventus waking from within Sora's heart. But as I said, it might just be the lighting. That's about it. Now cue the Kingdom Hearts 3 logo. The 2018 pops up and cements 2018 as the release year. Nomura is not backing down from his promise. Whew, that took a while, but let's get started with the second trailer. This trailer contains the new Utada Hikaru song called Don't Think Twice in English and Oath in Japanese. The trailer reminds me a lot of the usual stuff we see in credits. The song is very different from the two others, but I really like it. To me the song feels kind of bittersweet, and I think that might be true, as Nomura has said that KH3 is going to be dark. In the first scene we see the opening of the E3 2015 trailer of young Master Xenahort playing with young Master Eraquise. Nothing at all has been changed in this scene, so let's just continue onwards. This scene we clearly remember from the orchestra trailer. The scene starts a bit before the one we got in the orchestra trailer, so we have a nice view of Hercules' world. Going a couple of frames further, we have a nice point to compare with the orchestra trailer. The biggest difference is that for some reason Sora now appears to have his KH2 outfit, and he isn't in the second form as can be seen on the command menu. And hello to you, sweet customized command menu. Maybe this outfit is part of a customization feature that is in the game, or maybe it's just a mistake, but I don't believe that, because as we're going to see, Sora wears this outfit in a bunch of scenes. Anyway, going back to the comparison, we can see that there have been a ton of big and small tweaks to how the world looks. My favorite is the glowing crystal thingy and the glowing rails. Generally, the lighting is just so much better. The scene where Sora is running up the mountain towards the boss has also seen a ton of improvement. The lighting is better, Sora's steps make splashes, and there are particles when the rocks collide with the mountainside. I'm very impressed with how much they have improved since the orchestra trailer. Here we can see Sora transforming into the new Keyblade transformation called Mirage Staff, which we saw in the first trailer. As always, a pretty cool little animation. In the next little clip we're back in Hercules' world and Sora is using his KH2 outfit again. He's fighting the mini-boss we have seen a couple of times before. The lighting and colors in this shot is a big step up too, and the ground has a lot more detail to it than what we saw in the American D23 trailer. One thing I noticed while watching the clip is that when Sora gets hit, the box's hitbox has been fixed. Last time we saw a similar fight scene, the hitbox was much larger than the boss, which resulted in collisions a fair bit before they should have happened. It's good to see it has been fixed. We have Sora in his toy version again, and looking at the previous trailer, there is a very noticeable change. The same can be said for young Master Xehanort. His eyes and ears have been changed to more closely match the older Xehanort. This little part of the trailer has been changed so little that it's almost impossible to see, so we're not going to go over it. The trailer cuts to some more Monsters Inc. stuff, where Vanitas is making trouble again. Pausing the trailer here, you can actually see some of Vanitas' suit beneath the coat, which really shows how much attention to detail there is. I imagine that Monsters Inc. will get an original plotline also, since we saw a fire in the leaks and Vanitas is holding a Scream canister. Once again, we find ourselves back at Mount Olympus, but there's been no visible changes to this cutscene, so we hurry onwards. And we arrive at this. In my opinion, this is the scene that has been improved the most. In the orchestra trailer, Xemnas looked really off, but my god, he looks beautiful now. He really looks like the Xemnas we have seen throughout the games. The code has also undergone some changes, and it's only for the better. And while we're at it, what the hell was wrong with Xemnas' sleeve? As the camera turns around and we can see Sora, it becomes apparent just how much they've changed. Goofy's position, Sora's jacket, his hair texture, and a whole slew of other stuff. I can't help but notice that Sora's eyes are a bright blue color here, amidst all the green, while his eyes were a lot more green when talking to Marluxia, also in a very green environment. This kind of rules out the possibility that Sora's green eye color comes from reflecting the environment. We're finally at the last scene in the last trailer. Oh boy, this has taken a while. We see that the way to the dawn has been broken, which is unheard of. We've seen Keyblades shatter before, once in Kingdom Hearts 1 and once in Birth by Sleep, but never ever have we seen a Keyblade break, so I'm very curious to see what could have made that happen. The camera angle changes and we get a good look at Riku's new outfit and hairstyle. A while back Nomura released an artwork of Riku, Kairi and Sora as well as FMS Gold and Vanitas. In the artwork, Riku and Kairi could be seen wearing clothes we haven't seen them in before, and Nomura said the outfit in the artwork was based off of the outfit in the game. Comparing the artwork and Riku's outfit, we can see that they are very similar, so maybe Kairi's outfit will be very close to that in the artwork also. Riku walks down to the water and look at those footprints. Nice! Mickey has also got a new outfit and the hood has ear holes, which is a cool little detail. Riku shoves the Keyblade into the ground and look at that! That is the most beautiful Keyblade I've ever seen. He says he can't use that Keyblade anymore, and I wonder if he means he can't use that specific Keyblade anymore, or that in general he can't use Keyblades anymore. The latter would surprise me, as Nomura really tries to make people like him. I remember that a while back there was a poll about the favorite character in Kingdom Hearts, and Nomura was surprised that Riku was lower than he expected, and Nomura then jokingly said he'd have to do something about that. Maybe Riku is in for a bad time in Cage 3. Who knows? I do like that he seems to be a bit more dark and serious again. He was a bit too chipper in 0.2 in my opinion. I wonder who he's speaking of when he says, in case the other me needs it. Two potential candidates come to mind as to who that could be. One is Riku replica from Chain of Memories, and the other is a younger version of Riku, back when he was controlled by Anthem, maybe brought back through time travel. We are finally done with the trailers. Both were absolutely fantastic. The first one really showed some impressive gameplay, where the second one brought us an update on the visual parts of the game, which looks simply breathtaking. I'm going to end off the video now. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.